a block just to bolster up the seat. So our first seat we're going to discuss is Vajrasana. Very simple form. If you can't sit all the way on the ground, good for you. But with this being a gentle form of practice, a block will really help just to soften that lower curve in the spine, allow the roots, that Mula, to really sink down naturally wherever it feels good as we settle into our seats. Some people like to take Vajrasana a little more raised up, and as you can see here, I can't even touch my block here. Just a little bit more stretch. I do recommend traditional form, feet in line with the shins. If you have any issues with the knees, of course, that block will help. Settling from here, another option in seat to take is Sukhasana, or our cross-cross applesauce. And I really do say that this is our go-to. I think most people learn this as a kid, just our Indian style. You can always take this half form. So a lot of people I see who have maybe like one hip that they favor may raise one knee. This is acceptable too in half form. Finding a seat is important for you to settle into the space where you are. Dandasana, our staff pose, I do not recommend taking a blocked seat because the knees will hyperextend down. However, you can take the block below the knees, which is always nice here. Really settling down, maybe even pulling that little bit of seat bone out. This is when a lot of people feel that you do need a lot more support, so you do feel more round in the back. And our last seat that we'll come to is Padmanasana, which if you do have a practice here, by all means, some people will go into a half form, which is just one leg kind of stacked up. So one leg stacked up can be very gentle. Actively dorsal flexing that foot can really help you be aware of the ankle so that your ankle isn't extended in. The deepest form of this, of course, pulling that foot all the way up into the lap. And maybe here's just your half form. Your full form, again, if you do not have a practice here, I would not recommend this. Actively keeping those padas, the pads of the feet, up towards us and settling in here. So wherever you would like to find your seat, bringing you to this time and space wherever you are, settling in. We're going to take a mudra for today that is Kundalini, the idea Shiva Linga mudra. So as Kundalini is this snake that climbs up us, this fire, this flame we're going to hold. Our receptive hand, most commonly said your left hand, but if you're left-handed, you might feel the energy more receptive in your right. It's going to come palm up. That palm is going to sit into your lap, and your dominant hand, you're going to extend Agni, that fire element, out of your thumb. If you can see this as though it's like a little flame waving on a candle, you're going to put that candle into the dish, and then you're just going to hold this dish right at the space of the belly. That thumb may be right below the rib cage, just below the diaphragm. Really just kind of that water from Svadhisthana boiling up, rising up through Uddiyana into that space of air in the heart, Anahata, crypt. Breathing through your nose here in a square breath. If you can find that breath, just breathe in and out. Trying to make that breath even in, holding, releasing, being empty evenly. If you'd like to add in a mental idea of the breath coming up one side of the body on the in-breath, maybe that receptive side of the body, holding across the body and releasing down the opposite side of the body, being empty. Now imagine that breath coming up that same side it just went down, holding across the body, releasing, finding this cycle of breath in, hold, release, be empty, in, hold, release, be empty. Hanging out here for a few moments. Process. We're going to go through Drishti practice now. You can hold this mudra or any mudra that you'd like. Going through the 3 simple mudras that I always like to go into: Uddiyana, receptive; Jnana, meditative; and Manjali, hands to heart, where we will be, of course, projecting out all of our appreciation. These are great places if you just want to receive from the universe. If you have a lot of chatter in your mind, or if you are just overwhelmed with gratitude and experience. Wherever you'd like to be informed, head is going to try to stay level. Just with our eyes, we're going to gaze up, we're going to gaze down. We're going to go side to side. Breathing, letting the breath flow, no judgment of the breath. So working into this place of fire, Agni. Our eyes digest light. The same cones and rods that we find in plant leaves are the exact same cones and rods that we find in the back of our eyes. Breathing through this form. Linear start and finish. Always crossing through that center path. Reversing now into the opposite direction, still linear, just giving love in both directions. Breathing through the nose if you can. If you got an itch, if you got a wiggle, do it. It's okay. No judgment, just observation. Observe that this practice is for the eyes here. So we just bring the attention back to the eyes. Breathing. Beautiful. Last one in this meeting up at the top. We'll go full circles. So these circles, much more on a flowing path. I always like to move my head here. It is okay. I just tell my body, hey, this is for the eyes. It's cool, your head can move. Let's bring the attention back to that drishti, that sight. Breathing through form. Nice, flowing form. Unlike the linear, this is just continuing. Breathe, flow, feeding back at the top and reversing. Our eyes are a great place where we think how our heart connects through that vagus nerve to our ocular nervous system. Our eyes are constantly looking at cell phones, computer screens, TVs, beautiful and wonderful as these devices are. We know there's so much more to the world than that small space. So expand your awareness out here. Be that expansive fire. We'll take the palms of our hands and just on the brow bone, pushing the brow bone up and through the forehead, softening that space around the mind's eye, maybe up into the hairline, out and through the temples. Gentle massages here. We're not pushing on the eyes themselves, just gently softening any tension in those areas. Nice. Finding our form from that simple breath work, that prana work, honoring Vayu, air, as that friction builds up into fire, honoring Agni, honor our past now, water as we cool and condense down into form, finding tabletop where it is comfortable for you. Tabletop is a very nice neutral form here. Feet more than anything, if your knees are a little uncomfortable, you could always bolster up a blanket wherever you are. We love these padded mats here. With the feet, really pushing through the tops of the feet and the shins so that the knees don't have as much pressure in them. Maybe we are up on our toes. There's nothing wrong with this, but you will get a different distribution in weight if you push down. Maybe even separating those toes, having awareness here. Hands below the shoulders, giving you time to really settle into your tabletop. These 4 points of contact. You can always take our gorilla hands to the ground too. Maybe you have blocks that you're working with at home. The idea here is that we are settling into the hasta and the padas here. So the feet are active, even though it's not the pads of the feet. As we breathe in, shoulders are wide. So if elbows are hyperextended in, bend them out. Give them a little spring. Make sure that they've got nice shocks for this beautiful vehicle that's your body. As we breathe in deep here, we can feel that nice open chest. Maybe the intercostals of the ribs balloon out. The clavicle drops open. Neck is long. Tailbone behind us. Settling into this form, we're going to go into our flowing series here. We're going to breathe in to cow. We're going to breathe out, down into child's pose. Really stretching out. If you want to spread the legs a little more, you're welcome to. As we breathe in, our forearms and hands are going to slide onto the mat, slowly sitting up to that Vajrasana. Letting our hands come around us, keeping those open shoulders, tracing the breath in our auric field, breathing out, down into center, elbows trying to hold into the ribs here. As we breathe in, we slide forward, coming back to that tabletop, dropping the belly. As we breathe out, maybe even a little hiss into cat. As we breathe in, we drop back down into belly. Nice. As we breathe out, we drop down into that child's. If you happen to go a little faster or a little slower, good, you're following your breath. As we breathe in, we rise back up. Gentle, soft water flowing here to the crest. Breathing out, feeling the length of that wave. Breathing in, maybe pushing like wind onto that water. Breathing in, we drop into that wave. Breathing out, again, maybe you feel the strength of the wave. Breathing in, flowing. Breathing out, dropping down. Long from crown of the head to tailbone, both pulling in opposite directions as we breathe in, rising back up, tracing your breath in the space around you. Again, back down to heart. Really, shoulders back here can open up that space as we breathe in, again, tracing back through the exact same motion, dropping the belly, maybe even gazing up. Breathing out, relaxing. Breathing in. Next 2 rounds, no narration, just ujjayi. into a seated position of your choice. This does not have to be the same seated position that you had, and if at any time you want to adjust and change that seated position, please do so. Listen to your body. This is not forceful, though we are going to find our form here. We'll do it in our own way. So opening up from these four elementals, these tattvas, we've gone through air, Vayu, we've gone through fire, Agni, we've gone through Apas, water. Water always settles down into earth. So the last part of this grounding is something that you can do when you get up every morning. Ground yourself when you get up. Before you even get out of bed, ground yourself. Just bring yourself to the edge of your bed. Maybe let your feet dangle over the side. And through these three simple forms, you're going to be honoring Mula Bundi, Uddiyana Bundi, and Jalandhara Bundi, these three spaces, almost like soup cans, and Sashumna Nadi, your spinal cord, where we're going to stack these points up with awareness. First one is really just to open up that breath. As we breathe in, we're going to open the arms entirely. Really just feel that nice subtle back bend. No force here. As we breathe out, we're going to hug in the universe. As we breathe in again, open up to the universe. All that the universe has to offer to you, all the prosperity, abundance, the love, the joy, and then wrap around it, giving it all of your appreciation, all of your gratitude, all of your attention. Breathing in again, flowing through these gentle spinal flexions that involve the entire body. Your feet don't even have to touch the floor to ground. Just finding that root, that mula in your tail. And from there, working that gentle flexion. Open with the breath. Closing with the breath. Giving to the universe and receiving from the universe as part of it. Maybe a good 5 to 8 rounds, recrossing the arms so that each side gets the same loving attention. At your own pace. This does not take a lot of time, but it really tells the universe how much you are aware of it, how much you are aware of yourself. Nice. Coming back to center, where we are here. The second one, very easy. And though we may be raised up on a block here, if you are actually sitting on your bed at home, legs over the side, this will feel a little different, but it'll also feel that nice kind of ebb and flow. So our hands are going to be beside us. It's normal as we reach down for our shoulders to come forward. Roll those shoulder blades into your back pockets. Let that clavicle just be open like a tabernacle for your heart, for your throat, for all your being here. And the hands themselves may externally rotate. Just this alone, you can feel a nice good stretch. Take a deep breath here. Maybe you can feel it through the forearms. Maybe you feel it down in through the hands, maybe up and through the neck. But just from here, we're going to reach over to one side, arm up and around, just to the head. If the hand doesn't come the whole way over, even the shoulders, or if the hand has to stay down, that's okay. You're going to very gently, with the weight of our arm, no force, no muscle here, we're going to feel that ear dripping down to the shoulder. Now this is where that outstretched hand really add that nice stretch. So if the hand does have to move back around, it's okay. Maybe you even rotate the hand a little and feel those different muscles. Breathe here. No forcing. Let gravity take hold. Maybe gaze is even slightly up to keep the head from falling forward. Breathe 2. Breathe 1. Very gently taking your hand back around. And though we could pull the head back up, let the hand give a little assistance there. I'm going to take the other hand back down. And again, that external rotation is just an added cherry on top to this pose. Opposite hand is going to come up and around, preferably on an in-breath. And then very gently let gravity again take the head down. I'm not forcing it down, I'm just letting the extra weight, and of course the elbow, the shoulder, those areas staying open help to keep my head level so that I'm not bowing forward, but I'm breathing down that nice open arm. Breathe here. Maybe a little twiddle in the fingers, maybe a rotation of the arm if that feels good. Be aware of where the breath is going. When you are ready on an in-breath, very gently taking the head, pushing it back up. So to extend this a little more, especially if we were on a flat surface like a bed with our legs dangling over, we're going to breathe in, bowing down to one side, using the palm of our hand, maybe going into the forearm. And again, keeping that chest open, maybe gaze slightly up. We're going to breathe out through the center. And we're going to breathe into the other side. These are such elementary movements. We breathe out through that center. And again, if we only come halfway up, I would rather... Beautiful Faye. Oh my gosh. Nice flow in the breath. I would rather you find where this feels comfortable in the movement, not forced. Your breath is your ultimate teacher here. I am just an instruction manual, so when you get up in the morning, listen to your breath. Invite it in as one of the most amazing friends you will ever know. Your breath knows you better than anyone. Maybe make these nice little dances with your breath. Little waltzes in the morning time with your spirit. Maybe one or two more wherever you are. If you're going faster or slower, good. You're listening to your breath, and I'm just chatter in the background. Coming back to center. As we're back at center, we're going to take our hands in front of us. So the easiest form, especially if maybe you had a long night, maybe just down in front of you, even holding the hands. Fingertips together, of course, index and thumb. Open fingers is going to add a little bit more expansion like an antenna. If you can, raise the hands so that the shoulders, the entire way around through the hands, it's almost like as though you become this little tabletop. We're going to breathe into one side, turning the entire way. And then we're going to breathe out through the center, and then in through the other side. Maybe are gazing at the hands as we're going through this flowing breath. Maybe we're looking forward, or maybe we're gazing up, stretching that insight to the day to come, breathing fully, following your breath. If you're going faster or slower, again, your breath, your body, your practice. One or two more. Beautiful. Coming back to center. Head roll is very simple. We'll start generally chin to chest. So chin to chest again, we have this tendency to roll our entire body forward. Set up first. Maybe adjust your seat bone. Maybe feel your chest is nice and lined wherever you want to be. Maybe you find good position for the hands on the thighs, maybe hands up. Wherever you find all of this lower body, this all builds up to that Jalandhara, that Vishuddha throat space. So we're just going to bow down at that throat space, creating a nice little lock here. Taking a couple breaths through the nose, breathing in and out. Looking down into the self, observing our heart space. When you are ready, breathing in, we're going to roll one head ear out, back through the center, chin to chest, rolling that other ear to shoulder. No right or wrong on which way you started or finished. Just follow your breath. Let it guide you. Nice, full, deep breaths from pelvic floor all the way up into the throat. So once we've done at least 2 on each side, we're going to continue that in-breath behind us in a full neck roll if it feels appropriate to the body. If it's too much, please, when your ear hits the shoulder, just raise your head up through that center space. And then ear to shoulder back through. Full head rolls are not something that we should force. They should feel nice. They should feel stretchy. They should feel ooey gooey, like you're floating. Once we've done 2 on one side, again rolling back to the other side, following your breath, following your form. Your choice of a seated spinal twist. So when we go through this form, very simple, everybody is going to be at a different level. Dandasana is probably the easiest just to start in, lifting one leg up across our thigh. This is where most people know this form. Maybe that front extended leg comes behind us, but only if we can sit comfortably, both seats on the ground. You can always readjust any of that seat as you want. Coming into this from even just a traditional Dandasana, it's cross applesauce. We can actually come into this from any form, but it's always going to be the knee that is closest towards you that you're going to twist towards. So if you are in a very restorative, very gentle position here, if my right leg, for example, is underneath, I would not twist to my right. I would twist to my left because this is the knee I can hold up towards me. So wherever you are in your practice, please make sure that it's the highest leg. In this case, I'm going to take my right leg over, and I can really hold that knee in. So first thing we're going to do is just hold the knee for a minute. You'll find that you naturally want to cradle over the leg here, and this is normal. But then from here, using that opposite arm as a setback. So usually the same side that we're going to twist to, or the same lifted leg, using that arm just to push the body up, make sure that spine is nice and long, adjusting your seat because we work from that tailbone up. Feeling this nice space here, full deep breath into the belly, long spine, through crown of the head, supporting the spine up. You can free up that other arm. Cross over if you like, and we're only going to move with our belly space. So our first deep breath here, we're going to stack up through those Bundis. Mula, meaning roots, we are rooting down here. A couple of breaths here, feeling this space. You can feel the diaphragm has a lot more work to do as we bring out those lower spaces, keeping that spine long. Maybe we're using our thigh for support as we start to open up the chest, turning deeper. Not working into the head yet, keeping that head facing wherever the chest is facing. Work on the shoulders, keep them nice and open, feel that breath fully in through that flying up space, that Uddiyana. And then in through the throat, maybe you trace that attention back a little more. I can really force this twist in one move, but I'm not stacking up through those 3 spaces with awareness. So taking the time here, feeling as though that spinal cord that's rooted into the ground to let the spine collapse here. Come out at any point if you feel you're losing height. You should be getting taller with each breath. 2. Breathe out. 1. Find that last breath. And we're going to move section by section, just moving the head forward so that our head and our chest are facing the same direction. Maybe softening any traction against the thigh, moving that upper chest back, and then eventually coming back through the center. Taking a breath here, maybe hugging in that leg, just appreciating it for being stable, helping the spine rise up. Find the opposite side here. No right or wrong as to which one you have started with here. And again, if you want to find different variations here, just make sure it's always the leg you can hold in closest to you. So if you're stacking the legs, this is going to reverse. And again, finding your seat, making sure that both your seat bones can sit down. If you do have to lift up, and if you can't sit down, just adjust so that Mula is grounded first. Hugging in that knee. You should feel just in this hug. You should feel all of that thigh, everything from that root down through the leg is our start here. If your feet are nice and plantar flex on the ground, maybe try dorsal flexing them just to give a little bit more rotation there. See what the difference feels like. If you want to set up more or set up less, this is the time. Breathe. And when you are ready, again, same arm as the side that you're going to be twisting towards will help support you. If you've really got a nice long spine, you can use a block. This is the nice thing about props. They're just extensions of our body. Rolling in here. This frees up that support for our other arm to come around. I should stress we don't want to grab the knee. Always the thigh, readjusting. And we're going to move from that tailbone up to the diaphragm, just that belly space. You will feel in each twist a want to collapse. So twist on the in-breath, keeping that spine long. When you found the depth of the twist, hold its height. Breathe out and explore the space you've made. Breathe in. Maybe make a little more space here. Finding your form, your body, your breath is adventuring through this with you. Opening up through the shoulders now, really broadening that chest. Maybe the hand goes a little further back. More support. If your elbows start to hyperextend or any hyperextension, I know sometimes this is something we love. We want the prana to flow here, so we don't want to lock those joints. Give them a baby spring. Feel that breath deeper up through Anahata, through Krits, through the Shuddha. Really hitting that gateway of the senses, space of Akasha. Going deeper still, we can take our gaze behind us. And not so much that, again, our neck cranks down. We've got that beautiful core rooted down past our tailbone. Maybe it's rooted down to the center of the earth. That beautiful energy that is yours, let it be long, let it flow free. Let it rise up. Our head holds all 5 of our senses. The body only the experience of one, and digesting those experiences, this is why we really want to leave our head for that last piece of awareness. Setting it up rightfully, like a vase on a pillar. Breathe. Maybe 2 more breaths. One more breath. When you're ready, head comes back to center. Shoulders follow. And we very gently unravel back finding here, hugging our knees to our chest. We go through very simple forms of warrior three on our mats. We're going to grab our knees, just very gently roll back. As we roll to our backs, we're going to take our feet to our mat near our tailbone. We're going to extend one leg long, your choice, and then the other knee that's raised up here, we're going to find the back of the thigh, pull it up. Maybe you grab the shin, maybe you just give it a little hug for a moment. We're going to go through Warrior 3 or Virabhadrasana 3 on the ground or reclined here is going to give an awareness of the hips that any standing pose is going to feel very different. Our extended leg on the ground, dorsal flexing those toes up and in towards our knees, so our heel is really pushing out, is our end game goal. Rising up through the crown of our head, really feeling that nice length of the neck through the shoulders. This is our goal for our upper body, but we're going to start from our hips. Our hips are level. Slowly extending that bent leg up. It may go straight. If it does, good for you. Otherwise, we just want to keep that nice dorsal flex, keeping the hips even on the ground. Breathing here and just pushing up. So one of the things I love about Warrior 3 is this great balance and how pretty it looks. But sometimes I'll start to stack my hips in a half moon, and I don't need to. That energy comes from the grounded foot, which in this case we're reaching up towards the sky. That energy extends through the leg. A micro bend in the knee is nice. You can let go of the leg at any time if you really want to feel that strength that this pose can give. Once we're level in the hips, we push through the heel out and we lengthen through the crown of our head. We can extend our arms out beside us. We're a little airplane, or we can bring the hands above head to traditional form. Now remembering the way this feels the next time you go into a standing Warrior 3. Start from the hips. Work out from those balanced hips. Breathing 2. Breathing 1. We're going to very gently support that thigh again, and we're going to bring up the other leg to join it. And from here, a reclined Dandasana, really pushing up through both legs. Simple as this form is, it is really easy to enter quiver zone here. So one thing I would recommend is if you want to try no hands, palms to the mat beside you, fingertips through shoulders, stretching long from fingertip to shoulder. Your neck and your back will lose a lot of that need to push, and dorsal flexing the feet towards you. Again, legs do not have to be straight or hyperextended. If in any fashion, support them through the thighs. This is acceptable. If you want that challenge a little more, breathing 2. Breathing 1. Dropping the opposite leg. Foot comes down to our tail. Knee pointing up. And again, you can support that flying leg on the other side as we extend that grounded leg out and down, pushing again through the heels. You'll really notice the tightness in the thighs here. One side worked out, the other one not as much. So bend away if you need to, it's okay. And this leg, just for me, is not as strong. That's okay, I still love it. It's still a good leg. But dorsal flexing those feet, starting as though we were standing on the ground, rooting through that energy, coming up through the leg. Micro bend in the knees are great if we were standing on that leg. And then we come to the hips, which we want square to the ground. Squaring the hips in our Warrior 3 allows us to work deeper through that extended flying leg. It allows us to reach longer through the crown of the head. And again, arms can come out to a little bit of an airplane. Or maybe we come into that beautiful full pose of superhero. If you've hit quiver zone, breathe deep, release if needed. That quiver zone is a place to remind us, is our breath holding our hand here. Breathe 2. Breathe 1. Nice. Maybe coming back to that thigh. Gently holding that thigh. Bringing the knees up into the chest. Maybe giving a couple of rocks, side to side, back and forth. And when you're ready, we're going to come up into a full rock forward. Sitting back up again. So sitting back up, we're going to go into our pigeon. And variations of pigeon are really easy to play with. So one leg of your choice is going to come behind you. No right or wrong as to how we get into this. Leaning forward is a great way just to kind of lift that hip here. Using your block underneath your thigh that is up in the front can really help to lift us up and allow that back foot to come into play. So actively keeping that foot in line with the shin. I used to always sickle in, and sickling is nice, but that sickling sometimes you can get a cramp in the foot, so if you can, even a little further out is better than too far in. Coming here, readjust, feeling that height in the thigh. If you want to drop down entirely through the hips, you can. From this point, either raising up through the breath. Your practice, your form, this is all about gentleness. Your breath will tell you where to go. If you want to come down, feel a little bit more humble, you just come down to our forearms and relax. And again, if you want to exalt, that is a little more tedious, a little more straight. You are welcome to go there. As long as your breath is holding your hand. Let your breath tell you where it wants to go. Watch it. See what it offers you. Breathing 2. Take that leg back around. If you want to transition through a soft gear, leaning over to your side, that helps the leg come back around, bringing the padas together. And so, our padas are so unique here, using a little bit of Reiki, which we all have, warming up the hands, gently, whether your feet are further away from you or closer together. We're going to take opposite hands here. This is a special one for someone. Once you feel that nice warmth in there, opposite hands are going to connect to the pads of the feet. So right to left and left to right. And just holding the feet for a moment. Think of this infinity symbol that you're seeing here. Maybe you're feeling it. Your breath does this. Every breath you take, it goes out of you. It goes into the floor. It goes into the world around you. What you breathe out is useful to that. And what that breathes out, you take back in and is useful to you. Such are the hands and the feet. Breathing into this space. Like to, you can stay seated up. Maybe you want to humble a little bit, coming down, feeling a soft cross. Nice deep breath through the pelvic floor here. If you are humbling down, do not shorten the breath. Let the breath find space inside of you. Maybe you were unaware of, or you've forgotten. Remember it. Very gently coming back up. Leaning back through that simple deer pose. You can hold deer pose a little if you want, but deer pose is just a nice transition here. Opposite leg is going to come back. Maybe we should call this goat pose. And then as we're nice and reclined, very comfortable here, we can feel how the opposite leg can more easily slide back than if we forced it. And then again, finding that nice transition. Your block, again, is support here. If you can drop into a full grounded form, that is wonderful, but if you want to try the block just for the restorative concept that we're entering into here, working on that back leg, settling it down, and again, trying to really extend through that back leg back. Maybe you can push into the top of the foot, and that transition, you can enter in anyway. Yeah. So that nice transition back. Very gently raising up if you'd like more of an exalt. Of course, this is a deeper form. Humbling is what I'm going to recommend, but this is your practice again. Breathing. Settling in. One of the things you will observe when Kundalini is present is a need to move. Allowing subtle shifting, especially through the core, is good here. As long as it is not abrupt, let the hips shift. Explore the weight on one side, Ida versus Pingala, the other side. Let them weave together and balance. Into maybe one. Nice. Very gently coming back up. Finding our seat. Last roll down. Grabbing the knees, and again, just rolling down, coming into a seated form here. Hands are going to come in front of us, and they're going to stretch out long, clasped together. Your shoulders first will want to lift off the ground. Rolling those shoulders back down, your elbows will be forced to move out. Let your elbows fall down along the sides of your ribs, and you should start to feel stretching through the upper arm that's very gentle. From this point, gently rotate the wrists, side to side, and readjust the legs if you'd like. The focus here is on the wrists, just gentle rotations, one direction, and then the other direction. Keeping those shoulders in our back pockets is sometimes hard, so when we lay down, this kind of naturally happens once we set everything in place. Again, you should feel that nice stretch, muscular effort in the upper arm, but you're not forcing it, just from the weight coming down. Having rotated the wrists in both directions, re-grip the fingers, opposite grip. We're going to come back out in front of us, very long, reaching up, long up towards the ceiling, hands together. And then again, shoulders down first. Keep those elbows in by our ribs. And as the elbows come down beside our body, you'll feel those upper arms. You're not doing anything here. You're just letting gravity do what it wants to do. This is setup. This is one of the most beautiful things about laying down. Rotate those wrists. Giving love. direction. One way. And then the other way. Nice. Here. Releasing the hands and finding the palms down to the mat beside you. If you can, please have block near you for this next round. Block near you is going to make a big difference here as we go into bridge. So I can do bridge easily without a block, but the block is going to be an extension of our body here. Think of what our breath would be without our body. It exists. It's there. But our body is a prop for that breath to experience. So this prop, I love the way Ram Dass says, I love my wheelchair. You can love this prop, helping you find this amazing pose here. We've got two levels, skinny and medium. You can go big if you want. I'm not going to say no, but I'm going to recommend medium for most people here. This is kind of our go-to. Feet are going to come up near our tailbone, knees pointing up, feet are about hip distance or about block lengths apart. Hands are going to come down beside us. Fingertips are going to be long, and you can feel each one of those fingers engaging on the ground. You can feel the palm engaging on the ground. You can feel the forearm. You can feel the upper arm up into the shoulders. If you push from middle finger all the way up to shoulders, you can feel how your neck and your head soften. No tension on the spine is our goal. Same with the feet. If we push down into the mat with our feet, maybe lifting the toes and reasserting each toe with intention, you can feel the way the hastas and the padas work together as the extensions coming into the core of our body. As we start to lift, try to keep your knees the same distance, releasing the tailbone first from the ground, sacral slowly rising, lower spine slowly rising. Maybe you get pretty high up there. Again, no pressure in the neck or the head. Everything is in the arms, the hands, everything is in the feet. Active legs. Breathe here deep and take that block and slide it underneath that sacral space. Gently letting that block down. Rooting to the ground, that block is there so your tail can root to the block. We are still active through our hands and through our feet. We still feel beautiful energy shooting up our arms and our legs. But because we can rest that lower tailbone, breathe deep into your pelvic floor here. Feel the belly fill. Let the diaphragm drop into the chest. The opposite direction we would normally feel. Let the chest balloon up. Maybe you are digressing into a fish and you can feel yourself breathing through those fish gills in your throat. We all may have had at one time. Breathe fully in. Release entirely out. How many times has an inanimate object around you been an extension of your body? Every element in our body comes together to make a form. This bridge. It's relaxing, effort-filled form as an example of how those tiniest atoms make the entirety of your being. class. I'm not going to tell you you can't, but if you do come out here, we lift that tailbone with intention, pushing through the hands and feet. Softly remove the block. And as we lower, we keep that tailbone tucked up. We slowly lower from the height of the spine. One little disc, lowering by another. Last piece to come down is that tailbone itself. Nice, beautiful form. Maybe bringing the knees up into the chest again and hugging them in. Just loving our form, all those little tiny pieces coming together to make all of our being right here, right now. Coming back down. Last little bit of a twist here. We're going to take our feet that are by our tailbone and we're going to intentionally lift them up together, knees and ankles glued together, and we're going to move them to one side. So if you pick them up from the center and move them maybe to your left or your right, your choice. We're going to still have knees pointing upward, just feet down on the ground. We're going to lift the hips up now and realign them so we feel like our spine may be curving into one direction. Keep your knees and your ankles glued together. We're going to gently drop them to the opposite direction where our spine will realign. So if you move to your left, you're going to drop to your right. If you move to your right, you're going to drop to the left. And keep those knees and ankles stacked. Staying here, maybe arms go out long for more upper body support. Maybe you look in the opposite direction with your head now. Then you twist it, breathing 2. Deep breath, breathing 1. Very gently bringing those knees back up. So we love to windshield wiper our knees. It feels good. This is slightly different because we're re-engaging the twist of the spine. Lift the hips back up, realign to center. Lift the feet back up and bring them over to the other side. Lifting the hips back up so that we're now very gently, our spine is curved to the opposite direction. The key here is to keep the knees and ankles stacked as we let them fall to the opposite side, so that the hips help the entire spine stay in line as it twists long. Maybe arms go out. Maybe you look in the opposite direction. I love windshield wipering my knees. Going through our form as it feels appropriate for our body. This is a nice long form in our spine. Setting up for Savasana here. Very gently bringing those knees back up to center. And again, if you would like one more hug into the chest, go for it. Maybe you want to add a little happy baby. Maybe you want to add some baby ninja. If you feel so inclined to bring yourself into plow, I'm not going to stop you. But settling into our final seat here, we're going to stay down for Shavasana. Last settling in pose, corpse. Maybe one leg goes out long at a time. You give yourself a nice little hug in the upper body so that the shoulder blades can relax down softly. Settling in here, breathing through your nose. All of practice is a a vibration. All of action or karma is a vibration. All this movement, letting it settle down into our being. A fire burns twice. Agni, that presence of heat, is what makes all living form different from what we call inanimate. But we can see inanimate as an extension of ourselves. When the spirit stirs it, like breath on a flame, the awareness expands. We are, in essence, that fire, this little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. The lamp of the body is the eye. That lamp, that simple fire, that warmth, that awareness allows all to be. What you shine your light on, how you burn in this world, is how we restore the world around us. That ember that we sometimes feel we're burnt out into, culture it with your breath, with your love, with your appreciation. And know that it is greater than any light that can be given to you, because it's the light you can share around you. In honor of this beautiful power we all carry in us, remembering that flame, I offer the mantra closing this class, Agni Loci, which means I surrender to the transformation of fire. Outside of you, there is a breath waiting with joy and appreciation. Welcome in that breath, feeling the sensation, simple in the tips of your fingers, in your toes, subtle awarenesses, the world around you, the animal. Breathing in deeper, connecting those sensations to the ability to sense them. The hands to the arms, to the body, the feet to the legs, to the ankles. The smell, maybe lights creeping in, sounds. The animus. Breathing in deeper, maybe hugging the knees into the chest, or maybe arms above the head, reaching out long. Feeling the space your body fills. Not just observing through the senses, the sensations around you, but being present in this sensation, this moment, this time. The sight, the source, the smell, the sound, the touch. The anima Anima or Animus Loci, your sacred space in being present. Roll into one side using the bicep as a pillow, pushing the body around through tabletop. Head heavy. Head is the last part of the body to stack up as you find your way to seated. Sitting up with that head rightfully in place. I'd like to close off with simple awareness that might bring, honestly, a sense of discomfort. So I ask for you to bring appreciation and joy to each one of these thoughts. The idea of fire is that we can transform. Through alchemy, we can make lead into gold. We can make something shitty into something beautiful. For a moment, centering in on all that we have taken of lesson, made greater. Thinking of the ideas of sadness, of spiritual ignorance, of thirst, of jealousy, of shame, of disgust, offering these experiences to the fire, thinking of what beauty has come out of these experiences. No world around us is just that. We can create beauty out of ignorance. We can create joy out of any experience. In honor of that ability, we will close out class with 3 ohms, a healing vibration, a creative vibration, or if not, just the ability to create a sound. Always welcome to join in or listen with your mind's eye. As we breathe in fully, as we release entirely, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you for coming and sharing your practice. Welcome, everyone. We do have to spray down our nuts. It's the only thing we must do. Thank you, everybody out in Cyberland.